Hi, I'm Tara Walrod, and this is my Module 1. A few things about me. I have a husband, Jason, of 18 years. I have one daughter, Reese, who turned 13 last week. I have one dog, Juno. I love sports, music, and reading. I graduated from Kansas State University with a bachelor's in education and in mathematics. I have a master's in school counseling, and I've been in education for 20 years. I started my career as a high school math teacher for 5 years, and then have been an elementary counselor for the past 15, and most recently became nationally board certified in 2013. Some things related to this class and my profession would start with my school. I am the 504 coordinator for the building, and I'm also the problem-solving team leader, which is our student intervention team. For the district, I am the lead elementary counselor for 21 counselors. I serve as the leader for the mental health team, and I also serve on the district leadership team in planning professional development for the district. For the state level, I am the vice president for elementary for the Kansas School Counselor Association, and I also, this semester, am facilitating my first class for Kansas State University, which is an elementary counseling class centered around ethics. When I started thinking about my school district and reflecting, I noticed on the website that it says the Blue Valley School District's philosophy is reflected in the practice of responsibly including students in educational and social activities to the maximum extent appropriate, based on their individual learning needs. And I would agree with this. I feel like our district does go above and beyond when it comes to serving our students with special needs. Something specifically around Sunrise Point, when I think about students with special needs and learning materials and learning strategies, it's somewhat of a tiered approach. So obviously we want our gen ed teachers to be trained and able to support our students with special needs in the gen ed classroom. So that first level is just collaborative in-class support. So that means the student is most generally in the gen ed classroom all day long, and then the special education teacher or even a trained para possibly might come in at certain times to accommodate or to modify curriculum or materials as needed for that student. Our next level would be what we call our learning centers, also known as resource rooms. This is where students receive some specialized instruction from a special education teacher in a small group setting. But most of their day is still in the gen ed classroom. They just go into the resource room to work on certain goals. Our next tier would be instruction in a separate classroom, typically the resource room. Students who need highly specialized services and cannot successfully integrate with all the gen ed classroom and curriculum. So they do spend part of their day in that room. However, they are in the classroom as much as possible. And then our final tier is what we call our center-based classrooms, which different schools have. My school has what's called a Navigators program, and this is a center-based classroom for students with autism who are on grade level academically but still have behaviors. So we have specialized programming for their disability, and they receive some pretty intense specialized programming along with a resource teacher that is just for that classroom. When I think about personal use or non-use of appropriate content-based learning materials and learning strategies for students with special needs for myself, I broke it down to 4 areas. First, climate. I take the lead in assessing school climate in relation to students with special needs and working to initiate interventions to make change or advocate for those students when appropriate. I also am a big collaborator. Like I said, I lead our student assistance team, and so I collaborate regularly with teachers to develop more effective support services, instructional strategies, interventions for students with special needs. And then also as the school counselor, I collaborate with the school psychologist, the OT, PT, speech language pathologist, resource teachers, all to develop appropriate learning strategies and content for students with special needs. I'm often at my school seen as the family go-between. I tend to work with a lot of families in our schools and have a relationship really with all families. So I often help them understand policies, procedures when it comes to IEPs or our problem-solving process. And then I also work to refer outside resources as needed. And then I also work with individual students or small groups of students to work on study skills, to work on learning styles, and help them understand their strengths and weaknesses. The plan that I propose that to help improve or enhance SPE's current practices would be to continue to improve instructional practices where all students can learn in all classrooms. Whether that be professional development that I help plan or I help facilitate, but I think that's very important. Classroom seating to accommodate student needs. I know from experience that when students are comfortable, they are more able to learn and focus. Also, to continue our intervention schedule that we've developed as a school, but more importantly, to collect data on how that can continue to improve. Class placements, I'm intricately involved with that and where kids are placed each year for their teacher. So making sure that students are placed in the right classrooms. And then, as I mentioned, I collaborate with teachers, resource teachers, paras, and staff to analyze data and to often determine why students are or are not progressing as they should be. What impact will funding have on my plan? Teachers need time, so obviously providing subs or additional professional development days requires funding, but it's needed so that teachers can take the time to research PLC and better meet the goals of their students. I also feel like materials for students who learn differently, we probably need to continue to research and have the latest and greatest when it comes to that. And then, as I mentioned, classroom seating. I think having comfortable classrooms that meet all students' needs who may be sitting in a desk with a straight chair all day isn't best practice, that providing those. And then PD training, experts coming in to work with our teachers on instructional strategies to best help kids. All of those I feel like are great ways to help our teachers. I just want to thank you, and I'm excited for this class to learn more from you and to get to know all of you. Thanks.